Good evening, Commissioners. If we'll come to order, we will begin the consent agenda portion of our agenda for this evening for resolutions, proclamations, and presentations. That is for Monday, August 21, 2023. If there are no objections, if I could direct your attention to the public hearing, the rezoning of property at 1671 Lake City Highway, we will be postponing that until next month. There are no objections to that. Hearing none, going back to the top of the agenda, we have a proclamation going to be presented by Mayor Terry Frank in honor of Steve Payne. Mayor Frank, you have the floor.
Steve, you want to come up here and bring your team? Family, team. All right. Whereas Steve Payne has honorably served the citizens of Anderson County and the state of Tennessee in emergency services since 1978. And whereas Steve Payne began his career in public safety with the city of Oak Ridge, leaving in 1993 to serve 2 years as fire chief for the city of Clinton, but returning to the city of Oak Ridge in 1995 to ultimately retire from there in 2010. After retiring from the city of Oak Ridge, Steve moved to the Y-12 National Security Complex, where he has remained since. And whereas Steve Payne was appointed as Director of Anderson County Emergency Management Agency in 2002 and held that position until his retirement in July of 2023. And whereas during his time as EMA Director, Steve Payne served on numerous boards and committees such as the District 2 Homeland Security Council, the Anderson County E911 Board, and the Local Emergency Planning Commission. And whereas for many years, Steve also served as an instructor with the state of Tennessee, training new and veteran firefighters at the former Murfreesboro Training Facility and the current Bell Buckle Training Facility in Shelbyville. He has been a certified Tennessee Emergency Management Agency instructor in disciplines such as the Incident Command System and Hazardous Materials Response. And whereas when he isn't fighting fires or teaching emergency responders about public safety response, Steve can be found spending his time with family, which includes his wife Jana and children Brandon, Casey, Cody, Thomas, Colby, and Kaylee, and attending church at Beach Park Baptist Church in Oliver Springs, Tennessee. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Anderson County Board of Commissioners meeting in regular session this 21st day of August 2023 that we do hereby proclaim November 16th, 2023 as Steve Payne Day in Anderson County to offer his lifetime of service to humanity at great risk of injury and harm, often requiring time away from family, sleep, or the comforts of everyday life. We honor Steve for his passion for the safety and well-being of our community, for mentoring others to care for their fellow man, and for carrying the burden of being on call when emergencies strike. We not only honor Steve's legacy, but also a day that is so special to the Payne family. November the 16th is the day that Steve Payne adopted Thomas, Colby, and Kaylee as his children.
That's good until that last sentence. Robert, we've been together for a long time, haven't we?
Sure have.
Yep. I've been honored. I've been blessed with this job and with the way my career's spanned. But I'll tell you right now, if it wasn't for the backing, you all, I got a great boss. I can't say enough about her. She, I don't think she ever told me no, but she would guide me in a different direction. That probably, by no means, it was the way I should have gone, but it was a run, roll the dice. When Homeland Security came in, we were, I don't know, I guess I just knew the right people and made the right friends, but when we get $1 million, yeah, on a Homeland Security grant, that opened up the doors for us. And everything after that it was good. I worked for Rex for a little while, and Awanski at first, yes sir, I'm sorry. But I ended up marrying Rex's secretary. He had a grudge for a little while, but he got over it. And I've got great kids, but I can't say enough about this county. The emergency service personnel in it, from the sheriff's department to all the volunteers, everybody works well together. The ambulance service, I've been in a lot of meetings with them. I've been on the scenes with them. And Anderson County is very, very lucky to have the quality and the expertise we have in emergency services. I know it's not available or a good time at all, but every time they come up here and ask for money, you all have ponied up exactly, seemed like what we needed every time. And I do appreciate this commission and the past commission. Got a great director. He's young, he's energetic, he's my friend. But two powers with emergency service, with EMA. Lynn Chilcote. If you think I was the boss, I wasn't. Okay, anybody remembers Lynn? She had it going on. You could call her at midnight and she'll still be up and she'll be working on something that needed to be worked on by me or I was already late on. She was taking care of it. And when we lost Lynn, Jesus smiling again. I got Karen Newton. And I'll tell you, men are men and the women run it, boys. There's just no doubt, because she had my back just like Lynn had it, and we've never missed a step. I would be asked a question, and I would tell them I needed to take a little break or whatever, and I would call either Lynn when she was there, or I'd call Karen to get the answer. We can't have it all, but Matt's on board. He's a volunteer. You're an employee. Part-time. Yeah. And we got a great group. And the way you all have given to us, just if we can ask it, just keep on giving to us. Because it's a money thing out there for us. We need the equipment. We need all that. But I want to thank the county. I've been blessed, like I said. And Mayor, thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
I appreciate it.
Words aren't enough.
Thank y'all.
Next item is a resolution honoring International Overdose Awareness Day. That was requested by Shayla Wilson of ASAP. And I believe that our chairman, Josh Anderson, will be presenting that. Chairman, you have the floor.
Why do you always make me follow the really, really, really good ones? This is resolution number 23-08-1124, the resolution honoring International Overdose Awareness Day. Whereas August 31st of each year marks International Overdose Awareness Day, which is a day to remember those that have been lost to overdose, acknowledge the grief of the family and friends left behind, to honor those first responders for their service, and to renew the commitment to end overdose. And whereas, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 1 million people have died from an overdose since 1999. In 2021, 106,699 overdose deaths occurred in the United States. And whereas over the last year in Anderson County, a total of 91 lives have been lost due to overdose. And whereas countless other lives have been saved in Anderson County thanks to all of the men and women who serve our great county as first responders, who carry and administer naloxone to save those experiencing an overdose. And whereas International Overdose Awareness Day seeks to create better understanding of overdose, reduce the stigma of drug-related deaths, and create change that reduces the harms associated with drug use, we, the citizens of Anderson County, are joining ourselves to a global movement for understanding, compassion, and change. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Anderson County Board of Commissioners meeting this 21st day of August 2023 that we honor International Overdose Awareness Day, August 31st, 2023, and all the lives that have been lost or affected by overdose, as well as all first responders, emergency medical services, fire and police personnel for their service to those suffering an overdose. Be it further resolved, we invite all citizens to First Baptist Church Family Life Center in Clinton from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Thursday, August 31st, 2023, to observe International Overdose Awareness Day. Resolved, duly passed and effective this 21st day of August, 2023.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for this recognition, but also just want to invite you, like the proclamation says, out to join us at First Baptist Church Clinton on the 31st as we remember the lives that have been lost. We did get an updated statistic for 2022 that indicated there were 66 lives lost in Anderson County, and although that is a decrease and we want to recognize that, we still know there's a lot of work that we have to do and continue to do to continue to get those numbers to go down. So thank you guys so much. With another hat on, I'm going to take this time to recognize our 2023 Fairs the Fair. Put my Anderson County Fairs the Fair Director hat on. We have Cadence Crowley, and so I want her to introduce herself to you all as she will be representing Anderson County this year.
Hey guys, I'm Cadence, and I'm super excited for the opportunity I get to introduce myself to you guys and get to show my face around Anderson County and help out with events and come to things like these and just introduce myself and let Anderson County know who I am. I also get to have the opportunity to compete in the state pageant in January, so I'm super excited to do that and get to represent Anderson County. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Elle. And the last item will be a presentation of a civil rights memorial requested by Commissioner Allen and Commissioner Wells. Gentlemen, you have the floor.
Good evening. My name is John Spratland. I'm the chairman of the Scarborough 85 Monument Committee that's representing the reason we come here to present to the county, and want to thank our commissioners, Allen and Commissioner Wells, for having us here, as well as the rest of you guys. I won't call all my committee, but a lot of our committee members are here. They're sitting right here in the front. But we are truly blessed here in Anderson County. We just heard the presentation proclamation about the Mr. Steve right there. and all he's done for the county, countywide. Now we have a chance to gain even more blessings to get our rightful place in civil rights history. Anderson County is truly blessed, and we can be really more blessed because we have 3 schools that participated in United States civil rights history, but not all the parts are connected. So we're here to connect all the parts to make the county look really good. We got a strong county, but we want to solidify that by gaining our rightful place in United States civil rights history. You have Robertsville Junior High School at the time and Oak Ridge High School in 1955, and then we have Clinton High School in 1956. But I'm gonna be quiet, I'm gonna let the video play and talk to you more about it through the video, and then I'll be open for questions.
shown. Scarborough 85, now your story is known.
A little bit more. Like I said, the county is already strong. We got a strong, already, solidified place, but we need to solidify even more to make us stronger as a county, as a region. I want to thank Clinton for the wonderful job you guys did in the county with Clinton High School and the monument with the Clinton 12. And we want to do the same in Oak Ridge to solidify the other part of the county. We are truly blessed in Anderson County to have 3 schools in the county that took part in civil rights history. And this monument is, as you see, is different than any monument gonna be in the country. So believe you me, it will be a big economic benefit to the county, because we will draw tourists from all over the world to Oak Ridge. We're trying to get on the United States Civil Rights Trail, and we want to promote the county, county-wide, not just Oak Ridge. We want to promote Clinton, and Clinton promote us, so we're working together and not against each other. And it's a beautiful thing what Anderson County have. So we're here tonight to ask for your help. This is a $2 million project. You can see it's more high-tech, more not your traditional bronze statues. It's more hologram with the people behind it, and they're interactive, more up-to-date to keep people's attention. As you see, our theme was to preserve, educate, heal, and unify. And we finding that we still have to, even after 68 years coming up on September the 6th, we still having to educate people about what really happened here in the county. So we're asking your blessing to help us with funding, to help us reach this $2 million. And with your help, we can do that and really continue to solidify Anderson County and take our rightful place in civil rights history. I'll be quiet and entertain any questions from the commission.
Any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Wells.
I will ask, and obviously we've all met independently, but you've already started doing your diligence, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you met with the state legislatures. You've already been to DC and met with our federal leaders as well, sir?
Yes, we have. We met with Governor Lee's office this summer, a few weeks ago. The city of Oak Ridge has backed us with a $125 matching grant. The committee itself has raised about $80,000. So we're now in the monument raising money phase, raising the $2 million. And we're under kind of a time crunch because as you see those names of those students, they up in the upper 80s, 80 to 85 plus. So we don't have much time left, and there's not many of them still around. And we're hoping to get this done in the next 2 years. And the brochure kind of outlines the timeline to get this done in the next 2 years by 2025, so that some of them are still alive to see this happen and get their flowers while they're still living. It's been far too long and far too secretive for whatever reason. But we want to bring that light, take the covers off and shine the light on Anderson County.
And I will say, well, I've got the floor. So I will say, Mr. Spratlin, we've served together with the Boys and Girls Club for decades now. Those names up there, I know a good many of them. I know them through the Boys and Girls Club, through the community, but I probably know 90% of that last names because I grew up with their grandkids and their kids. And this is a testament, as he said, this is not just something celebrating the black history of Oak Ridge. This is celebrating the entire history of Oak Ridge. And then the location of this monument is going to be right in the center of our city. This isn't something I plan on jumping into tonight and having a discussion about, but this is something, as we move forward over the next couple months, I'd like to bring up with some of our committees and see if it's something that's feasible for us as a county to see where we can help. And again, following up, as he said, connect the civil rights trail that comes through Oak Ridge. And at this point now, it comes through Clinton, skips Oak Ridge, and goes to the African burial ground down in Roane County. We're missing out on a big picture. So, but yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Brown.
And as Mr. Wells pointed out, this was black and white coming together to make this happen. And this monument is one of those monuments that will feature that. That's why you see the basketball players. Because not only did we desegregate the schools, we also desegregated sports in the Southeast. Oak Ridge was the first to have blacks on the team, but they really didn't get to participate because other schools would not play Oak Ridge because they had black players. So imagine being on a team, being a heck of an athlete, and not really getting to shine, not getting your proper due. But this monument will kind of educate the world on what the county of Oak Ridge and the county, Anderson County, but Oak Ridge being in Anderson County, would show the whole world what really happened here and really help us solidify our place in the civil rights. So any help you can provide will be a blessing, and we thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Allen.
Yeah, this is so beautiful. I've known John Spratlin for quite some time. He was a Sunday school student of mine when I was a superintendent of Sunday schools at Oak Valley Baptist Church. I've known Rose very, very well. She's been a community activist for as long as I've been here in Oak Ridge. And Martin McBride has always been a great companion, a great friend of mine. And just like Mr. Wells, I know 95% of those people there. I've interacted with them, I've talked with them, met with them, worked on projects with them, and we're all great, great friends. And one of my dreams when I got here was to make Anderson County a better place. And this is a step in that direction because, as you say, this isn't about just black people. This is about black and white people coming together to make our county fantastic and great. And I've worked on that issue since I've been here, as you know, making our county great, bringing people together with the Martin Luther King activities. And I want to say that what really happened in Anderson County was a beautiful thing. And what we are depicting for everyone is that we as a county, our strength is us coming together, not based on color, not based on race, but just based on the common humanity that we have and the friendship that we had developed and the love we have for each and every person. So I commend this committee, great, fantastic, and I think that, through this great commission, we should find some way to find that, money to help out with this project. So thank you very much, John Spratlin and Martin and Rose Weaver and all the other committee members too. Thank you very much.
I just want to reiterate, the committee's working hard. We've already spent like $25,000 in getting the video and the graphics and the design of the monument together. So we're not asking for anything. We're really working hard to make this happen. So we would appreciate any support to help make this happen. And again, not just as a county, but you personally, as commissioners, can give to this. So I'm challenging each one of you individually to give. I'm vested myself. I'm giving personally and still giving. So it's going to take $2 million. That's not an easy thing to raise, but Anderson County used to doing hard things, as evident by the video.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Spratlin. Commissioners, that is all for the consent agenda for the 6 o'clock agenda. If there is no other business to come before the commission under the consent agenda, we will be in recess for, how long do we need? 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Say, that question was for you. 2 cigarettes. Don't make me feel anxious. 1 cigarette.
Takes 3 minutes to get down.
go ahead and call the August 21st, 2023 meeting of the Anderson County Board of Commissioners to order. We'll start with a prayer by City Councilman Reverend Derek Hammond and the pledge by Commissioner Vandegrift.
Thank you so much for the humbling opportunity to be with you on this evening. Heads are bowed, eyes are closed. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all of the earth, Father God. We thank you for the humbling privilege of gathering this evening to conduct the business of this, your county, Anderson County. We thank you for the gift of leadership, Lord God. We thank you for the grace of godly leadership. We do now ask, as we gather, that you would bless and breathe upon this time, Lord God, that there may be wisdom, that there may be discernment, that there may be direction, and that there may be courage, Lord God, to manifest and speak that which we believe is your will into existence. Be thou glorified in all that is said and all that is done. May the words of every mouth, Lord God, and the meditation of every heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. It is indeed in your name, Lord God, that we pray and we say, amen.
Next, we'll have the appearance of citizens. Anyone interested in addressing commission can, we'll have 3 minutes to do so. Just state your name and address, and that's for any item on or off the agenda. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Lucas Heaton. I live here in Clinton, and I'd like to read to you all tonight TCA 39-17-902. It is unlawful to knowingly produce, send, or cause to be sent, or bring, or cause to be brought into this state for sale, distribution, exhibit, or display, or in this state to prepare for distribution, publish, print, exhibit, distribute, or offer to distribute, or to process, or to possess with intent to distribute, or to exhibit, or offer to distribute any obscene material, or to do any of the aforementioned with any matter formed of legal obsession with that violates the requirements of 18 U.S.C. 2257. It is unlawful to direct, present, produce any obscene theatrical production, peep show, or live performance, and every person who participates in that part of the production which renders the production or performance obscene is guilty of the offense. It is unlawful for a book publisher, distributor, or seller to knowingly sell or distribute obscene matter to a public school serving any of the grades kindergarten through 12. It is unlawful for any person to hire, employ, or use a minor to do or assist in doing any of the acts described in subsection A with knowledge that the person is a minor under 18 years of age, or while in possession of the fact that that person should reasonably know that that person is a minor under 18 years of age. A violation of subdivision A1 is a Class A misdemeanor, and in addition, any corporation or business entity that violates this section shall be fined an amount not less than $10,000 nor more than $50,000. A second or subsequent violation of subdivision A1 is a Class E felony, provided that a second or subsequent violation occurs after a conviction that has been obtained for a previous violation, provided further that the range of fines authorized for the first violation by a corporation or business entity shall also be applicable for second or subsequent violations by the corporation or entity. A violation of subdivision A2 is a Class E felony, and in addition, a violator shall be fined an amount not less than $10,000 nor more than $100,000. A violation of subdivision B is a Class E felony, and in addition, a violator shall be fined an amount not less than $10,000 nor more than $100,000. It is an exception that this section that the obscene material is possessed by a person having scientific, educational, governmental, or other similar justification. The educational justification exception established in subdivision E1 does not apply if the obscene material is possessed by a person with the intent to send, sell, distribute, exhibit, or display the material to a minor. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to address commission? Just state your name and address, please.
Amy Poteet, and I'm from Oak Ridge. I just want to bring to your attention, I know you're tired of the library books. But guys, this morning it came out in Williamson County, an attorney is suing them. There is a group that is suing them. If you guys don't get ahead of this, I am 100% sure we are going to get on that wagon. There will be parents here that are going to get on that wagon, and my fear is that we are going to have to spend county money fighting this. If you guys don't come up with something, I hate to see county money having to fight for something that half of your citizens don't want in there. Wake up. We've been to HR. We've been to the county attorney. He's given the library board recommendations for their policies, and that's in the process, but the librarians are fighting it. With every fiber of their being, they don't want to move the books. We haven't asked for them to throw them away or burn them. The logical ones are asking for them to be moved away from where children can get them. That's all we're asking. But what's going to happen is it's going to come before you guys because you've turned the blind eye. You've said it's not our problem. Well, it is your problem. You are our commissioners. It is your problem. In the end, you're the ones that get to decide about lawsuits, and it's coming. Please wake up, form a committee, figure out what you guys can do, and do it before we have to spend county money fighting this. That's all I'm asking. There's got to be a compromise. There's got to be a way to do this without having to pay for a lawsuit. But turning the blind eye and saying it's not our problem is going to get the county sued. And I know that you guys don't want that, as much as I don't want that. So HR, the library board doesn't answer to them. HR can give their recommendations. They give their recommendations to Josh, who's the chairman, and to the library board. But they govern themselves. So the system is broken, and until we fix the system and you guys fix it, figure out how to fix it, a lawsuit is coming. So heed the warning, pay attention. I know a lot of you up there have kids and grandkids. Pay attention. It's coming.
Anyone else? If not, we'll move on to the approval and correction of the agendas. We'll start with the consent agenda. Motion to approve as presented, Commissioner Yeager?
Yes.
Seconded by Commissioner Mays. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next, we'll move to the regular agenda. We have a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner McCamey, seconded by Commissioner Wells to approve as presented. And we'll strike the public hearing. We didn't have a public hearing, so get rid of number 5. Okay. Any other discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously. Moving down to item 6, departments. We've got the tourism director, tourism council is Stephanie out in the hall.
We're going to get to my part. I'm assuming it's for the board members. So this will be replacing Art Miller, who has resigned from the board. He's been a great champion of tourism and served representing the Historic Downtown Committee, but he would like to resign from the board. And then the other is the marina position, Serena Satterfield. So I'm just presenting those for approval.
Commissioner Yeager.
Thank you. Who does Jimmy Taylor, I know, is he just an
He
at-large?
works for Apple Blossom.
Oh, okay.
He owns Apple Blossom.
All right, thanks.
Commissioner Smallridge, was your motion to approve both?
Yes, yes.
Seconded by Commissioner Allen. Commissioner Wells.
I would just put this as a question to make sure. I know we had was it 16 or 18 other individuals a couple months back that the nominating committee had to approve before it came to commission. And again, this is just a question. Should this not appropriately go before nominating committee before it comes to the full commission?
Our bylaws do not state that it goes through nominating
Yeah, that would
committee.
be more of a question, I guess, for the commission itself, since it's a committee on the commission.
I didn't remember, did nominating deal with any tourism applicants? I don't think we voted on. Commissioner Isbell.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we actually took that up in operations about who has the authority, and the mayor, and that'd be something that will be voted on at full commission, who has the authority to appoint. So that's one of the things that we talked about. But
Any
I'm
other,
fine with these two as well, these two members.
any other discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Yes is to approve both. Yes, 2 no, motion passes. Okay, next, item 7, committee reports. Got the purchasing report by Robbie Holbrook, Finance Director.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Anderson. First off, in the purchasing committee, there were 4 contracts approved by the law director in Section A, seeking approval as a group, individually, or I can answer any questions.
Motion to approve as a group. Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Under Section B, there were 3 contracts pending law director approval. They've all been approved now. 2 Cannon Solutions and 1, the Waste Management Solid Waste contract.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays, seconded.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to approve, for this motion, 1 and 2.
Okay.
Just in case if there's discussion on number 3.
Yeah. Motion to approve 1 and 2 by Commissioner Mays. You okay with that, Commissioner Allen? Any discussion on items 1 and 2? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, and number 3, under Section B, the Waste Management Solid Waste contract. It's a 10-year landfill host agreement. Jeff is here to answer all questions.
Motion to
Injured or not.
approve by Commissioner Wells, seconded by Commissioner McCamey. Commissioner Wandell.
Mr. Chairman, I did have a couple of questions. I can't seem to keep my iPad where it needs to be. It keeps bouncing around, so I can't follow along. But where did we get a copy of the contract, the finalized contract?
Yes, Commissioner Wandell, it went to purchasing committee and has come through the agenda process.
So full commission didn't get a chance to look at the contract? It just goes to purchasing, then comes?
You all got it in your agenda packet, yes, sir.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at it. But, so I'll just have to go off the top of my head. Did the contract increase for, the 50 cents, it used to be 50 cents a ton? I see Jeff shaking his head no. Host fee, or whatever it's called?
Host fee and the tipping fee costs will remain exactly the same. They'll increase on.
Was it because they didn't want to increase it, or we didn't ask, or?
They asked for an increase, we asked for a $2.50 host fee, which basically negated their increase. They didn't like that, so basically they've come back with, let's just keep it right where it is. Basically, we're trading dollars for dollars.
So for the other commissioners that weren't at purchasing committee, so what we did is Anderson County has or had a 20-year agreement with Waste Management, and the agreement is both a host agreement and a disposal agreement tied together. And in order to once we were at the end of that, in order to get a true request for bids, you obviously can't do an RFP for both the host agreement and the disposal agreement tied together, because then you are only going to get the possibility of one respondent, because there's only one landfill in Anderson County. So what we did is we put a host agreement out there to work with Waste Management, and then we went to bid on waste disposal. Catherine Ajmeri in purchasing distributed that to 135 companies. And then Jeff filled the gap with other vendors and folks that could possibly respond to that RFP. That was sent to another 9 individuals. We did get a lot of interest from Republic, which I don't think I'm violating anything, because when those questions come about, they have to go strictly to purchasing, and then Ms. Ajmeri works to get the answers, and those answers have to be distributed to all interested vendors. So ultimately, only one vendor responded, and that is Waste Management. We first came to you with a draft proposal, if you'll recall, that came through purchasing and then also to full commission. That was based on their response of what Jeff was saying for those that cannot hear, because I don't know if you want to. That was that increased disposal fee. And then at the same time, we had the request for increase in the host fee. What we heard from some commissioners on this body was it also went to operations, the discussion. What we heard was there was not an appetite for paying anything extra on that tipping fee. And so we went back to Waste Management. What we now have is an amendment to the original agreement, so now it's combined again. All the same terms and conditions in the former agreement are there, such as the education fee where you all ask for funds. The major changes on this, so we're looking at the same stability. You're basically getting a new contract with the same host fee that we're collecting now, the same disposal fee that we're being charged now. The only differences are we did try to negotiate for more time on Saturdays. That's not in their business model. They're also in the trash collection business, but they did give us some extra time. They're also giving us a couple of days, one in the spring, one in the fall, for spring clean and fall cleanup for citizens. And then one of the major things that they want to incorporate into the agreement now is that they do operate a courtesy collection site for people that want to go to the landfill. And they would like us to discuss maybe moving that over the next 5 years. It's not a absolute requirement, but it is part of this agreement that we start looking at it, and at the very least they want an acknowledgement that that is a service that they are providing. Jeff can speak better to surrounding counties as far as what they're paying for their disposal fee. Jeff, what is
Loudoun County's tipping fee
at $25.08 per ton. And then the state charges a fee, that is, there's no way to get around that. And so that puts it up to $26.33. That includes the state's fee.
Thank you, Mayor. So, in the last 5 months, there's been no solid waste meetings for whatever reason. I tried to make some of those. In fact, I showed up at one that was canceled, and I just missed the email. But so we didn't have solid waste meetings. This contract, you know, I've been sitting up here since 2006, and this contract is always a contract that seems to kind of move through the system, and I feel like the commissioners don't really get a good shot at reviewing it, understanding it, asking questions about it. You know, I tell you what we do get is we get a lot of negative talk from our constituents wanting to know why they can't dump their garbage on Saturdays and they shut down at 10 a.m. Most people don't, you know, get active till after 10 a.m. And you know, that's a service they're supposed to be providing for us. And I just feel like we get challenged more and more from them. And I guess, you know, I could sit here and complain just like everybody else, but I probably should just get back to the business at hand. And we sat here about 3 months ago and said we're going to go on a 30-day or 60-day contract, and now we got a contract in front of us. If I pull it up here. Jay, are we under contract currently with Waste Management or not? I've never seen, well, just a second. Has that ever been executed, the month-to-month, or is the contract structured, it just automatically goes month-to-month? Because I've never seen an executed contract.
We have, I came before commission the night that I had a draft before you, and I typed it up.
Yes, ma'am.
I delivered it to Annette. It went into the minutes, and word for word, it said requesting a motion to extend the existing waste management host agreement and disposal agreement an additional 60 days under the same terms and conditions to allow for continued negotiations and final contract proposal that would be presented through the normal purchasing and full commission process for approval.
Was that in
And
May?
that was approved by this full body.
Was that in May?
That would have been in May, I guess.
So
I
May,
mean,
June, July, August, so we're past 60 days. We're 90 days approaching.
It expired in June 30th, so that gives us to August 30th, or the end of August. The contract expired June 30th.
See, I don't get the sense we're under contract right now. I mean, maybe I'm sorry I asked the questions, but, you know, this just, it really bugs me, man. I just don't know why we can't sit at the table with you, Mayor, and find out what's the challenges with Waste Connections, or Waste Management, excuse me. What's the issue? I mean, I feel like we got some smart individuals around this table, and I feel like, you know, there's several that have good business minds that can add to the discussion of where we're at with Waste Management. And so what about is this the same contract that relates to the funds that come to the county commission for has that been taken out, or is that still in there, or has it been increased?
It's still in there. As I said, unless there is anything that's been amended, it's under the same terms and conditions, and that is still in there. The annual, that annual payment. The agreement, the term of the agreement was 20 years, beginning July 1st, 2003. 60 days is August 1st and September 1st. And I know there are a lot of very smart people around this table, but I also think I'm very smart, and so is Jeff. And so are the folks that helped us post this bid online. And we're coming to you with a contract that here we are 20 years later, we're explaining what other counties are paying for their waste disposal, And I just have to say, I think it's a pretty darn good agreement when we're paying the exact same thing. You know, we're not coming to you with a request. If you'll recall, during this budget process, one of the things Robbie pointed out was we don't have that number to fill in for waste management. We don't have a number. We're right now putting this out to bid, and that process isn't finalized. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in where we are now. Well, there's a win because there's nothing extra to add. We're still where we are now. So the increases will be if Anderson County grows, or we're not recycling as much, or more is going into the landfill, or there's a lot of cleanups going on. But otherwise, you're looking at, in front of you, a stability agreement for the next 10 years with an option for another 10.
Is that all, Commissioner?
Yeah.
Commissioner Isabel.
Yeah, I think actually I gave Commissioner Palmer my, written copy. It's got the notes on it. If you could pass that around, I could show Commissioner Wandell some of the highlights. And the reason why it passed out of purchasing is actually Jeff answered a lot of questions. One of the things was there's no increase. You know, we were concerned about it being a $38 increase. And then if the money is going to stay the same, before it look through some of those notes, it's highlighted. And then there's also an opt-out clause in there for, is it 120?
180 days.
180 days.
Yes, sir.
So in other words, if something else comes up better, or we find something needs to be changed, we could, with 180 days notice. And then we talked about the Saturday. Jeff, can you
You're referring to the 2 cleanup days on Saturdays?
well, no, the Saturdays, about what time they're open on Saturdays, you addressed that.
Currently, they're open 7 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. They're going to give us an extra hour from 6 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.
Okay, and then there was another reason there that they really were not
Is it 6 to
supposed to do that maybe, and then they're doing it on their own or something?
No, when
About the
we
Saturday?
actually spoke with them, they were wanting to close down on Saturdays
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
Which would have been devastating.
It's to
There's
11.
just no, so 6 to 11, we got an extra
So
hour.
that was one of the other things that was negotiated.
Yes.
Is to keep it open on Saturday, an extra hour, but their side was they wanted to close.
And Robert, we did have 2 or 3 solid waste board meetings,
Yes.
including a special called
Yes.
meeting.
Well, I mean, I followed the agenda and the calendar. The meetings that I tried to attend that were supposed to talk about this were always canceled. I didn't see any of those meetings.
Okay, well, there was one special called meeting that we had vendors from different waste sectors that was asked for by you and Commissioner Isbold, and we were there, and neither one of you guys attended the meeting.
Did we get an invite?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I just, all I can do is get the agenda, look at the calendar, look at the dates, go to the meetings, no one's there, then, that's what I go off of is the calendar, because I got a regular job too.
right.
And I didn't indicate anybody's stupid by any stretch of the imagination. What I said was, I thought it made sense, and I'll just be a little bit more clear. It made sense to have individuals around this body sit at the table to understand what's going on. The contract I read before said it was a 5-year renewal, every year for 5 years. This one's a 20-year renewal. Now we're going into 20 years. I don't understand that. And, it says it starts on July 1st, 2023. Today is August whatever, we're past it. And I just don't feel confident in our process we use to do this business with this entity. And, any of us can take it personal and say, well, you're picking on me if you want, but that's not the whole intent. The whole intent here is I want this company to sit at the table and do business equitably with our county and our taxpayers. Because what we hear from our constituents is when they go to the dump, they get treated like crap, they get challenged a lot, And we have the dump in our county. And what we don't know is when they do leave, what's gonna happen to all that stuff that's there? We're gonna be on the hook for it. Our people, our kids, our grandkids, I'm looking kind of down the road. So, you know, that's why I get a little bit passionate about it. And I don't know if this contract has been changed, this 24-0021 Exhibit C that's dated July 1st, 2023. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see us, what do we get now for money from them for the kids that we can sprinkle the money around for the non-recyclable portion of it? They kind of pat us on the head and say, here's $40,000 you can give to your kids in your schools. Is that what the number is? Is it $40,000?
It's been $12,000 since. the
12,000.
beginning of
See,
the
I'd like to see it go to about 75, you know. I'll ask for more because they're gonna cut it. They probably won't give it anyway. But, you know, I tell you what, Mr. Chairman, instead of me just rambling, I know Commissioner Palmer has some questions, and I apologize, Commissioner Palmer, for jumping in front of you, but when we get ready to vote on this, it looks like we have a motion and a second. I'm gonna make an amendment that we change that number from 12,000 to 75,000 for our kids in our schools. And I'll be prepared to do that when we get to that point. Thank you. And I apologize again, Commissioner Palmer.
Commissioner Palmer.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure it's more of a question, and just to make sure that everyone's getting the minutes, that what was passed over to you was in the purchasing agenda. And so does everyone, I want to make sure all of us get the agenda for purchasing for all of the different committees. I can't make all of them either. So, you know, I like to have that, so I just want to make sure, I guess Annette or Mr. Chairman, if we can make sure that everyone is copied on all of the agendas and all of the meetings.
Yeah, it's in the packet.
Okay.
It was a unanimous vote also, purchasing, because I managed to attend that one. Commissioner Mays.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Yes, sir.
I think you were about to bring it up, but if I remember in the purchasing meeting, you said something about, it was like spring and fall cleaning. What exactly, can you expand on that a little bit more?
They've agreed to give us 2 Saturdays. They'll be open all day on a Saturday with 60 days advance notice for cleanup, for if you're cleaning out your garage, your barn, et cetera. We will be responsible for advertising that 60 days out to the residents, but they'll be open a full Saturday, once in the spring and once in the fall, to sort of augment cleaning or spring cleaning type stuff.
Do you know if that will be just exclusive to residential folks instead of the bigger trucks coming in and, you know, dumping, and is it?
I mean, they're a business, they'll still have the big trucks running. But we will, generally, the residents go across the scales, and there are 6 to 7 open-top containers. That's where the residents deposit their material. They don't go to the landfill face. That is sort of the crux of the issue, is the liability on their end for a resident to be on the landfill face. It's a danger, and they don't want it. That's why they provide the containers just over the scales.
And so is there anything in the and I should have asked this in purchasing, and I apologize, but in regards to the 6 to 11, is there anything in the contract that they can't just up and stop doing that? I mean, like, it's not
They've
they can't.
basically guaranteed us at least 5 years of that. And then they would like for us to look at potentially finding a different location.
Okay. Thank you all.
Commissioner Wells.
And,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say too, just a little clarification on the 20 years. So when we posted the RFP, we asked that, we said that we were actually looking for a longer term agreement. So when they initially came back with their RFP, that was only based on 5 years. And because our interest was, you know, a longer term for budgeting, for commitment, was to look at that 20 years. That's why it's come back with a 10, with a renewal and another 10. So that originated with us on the county side.
Mayor, I commend you on the job you and your staff, Jeff, that you all did. You went above and beyond to answer questions for us in purchasing. I think that's a reflection of why we unanimously approved this to recommend to the council, or the committee. So I go ahead and move that we call a question on the original motion.
Do we have a second? Call the question. All those in favor of calling the question?
Chairman, just a second. You got a call on the question, you got a second. And this vote's gonna be on that call on the question, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and it's gotta pass, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Stop debate. All those in favor, I don't wanna mess the board up. Just raise your hand if you're okay with calling the question to vote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. 10 yes. Any opposed to calling the question? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Motion passes. 10 5s. All right. Let's go to the board and vote on.
Just a point of clarification.
Okay.
We're gonna vote on this contract. The mayor says we're voting on it as presented, correct?
Yes, sir.
Same terms and conditions as always.
Whatever is in, no, so there is an amendment on the, on
Well, it
the
says here we get $200,000 paid up front. That was original terms and conditions, but we're probably not gonna use those terms and conditions. I don't know, Commissioner Wells, did you ask about that one?
So those are things that have already happened. So for instance, the contribution that Waste Management made for the Water Authority, all of those are
It
things that have
says
already
paid to
happened.
Anderson County Utility Board, which does not exist anymore.
Correct. Those are things that have already happened in the past at the execution of the
So
contract.
that piece, the article above it doesn't take effect, which it says is to be used to provide water to Moores Gap, East Wolf Valley Road, and other areas the board believes necessary. That piece doesn't count, but the next piece under it does count, which is the $12,000 for the community funds for schools.
Yes, because it's an ongoing annual contribution. In fact, I think even, we're just in 60 days, but I think Robbie has already received that particular annual. This is usually when they send it, when the fiscal year clicks over, so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let's go
Thank
to
you,
the-
Mayor. Appreciate it.
Let's go to the board and vote. Yes is to approve the contract as presented, as recommended from the purchasing committee. 14 yes, 1 no, 1 abstention. Motion passes.
Thank you, Commission. And to Commissioner Wandell's point, Commissioner, I'm always happy to reach out to any particular vendor if there are things that we would like to do, or there are projects that commissioners have where, you know, you would like me to request that they perhaps partner on a particular project. I know one time COVID happened, but we were actually talking with Waste Management about increasing, I think do you recall, Jeff, it was like some recycling, and they were gonna make available gift cards to the citizens. Those are things that Anderson County can't do, but they were gonna have a little competition, and then COVID happened. But if there are ideas that you all have, I'm happy to take those to a company like Waste Management.
Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Smallridge.
Yeah, did I understand they agreed to add an hour on the front end on Saturdays?
Yes. On the back end, so they're giving us an hour and a half more per Saturday.
Would they consider adding more of that to the back end?
They wanted it closed. I mean, I think that's even what they responded, and we were like, no, that's exactly the opposite of what we want. So we can always continue to raise it. All right, thank you.
Okay, under other business, the surplus real estate on Highway 25W in Rocky Top. Commissioner Wells made a motion to approve and forward to County Commission with a recommendation for approval. Commissioner Palmer seconded, $20,000.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner McCamey. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And I do want to say something, I shared this with purchasing committee on behalf, I met with one of the members of the board. They wanted to make sure that commission knew, this was going to surplus this property. There was some information out there that they were building a new facility. That's not accurate. They're hoping this gets back on the tax rolls and becomes something, beneficial for the community, and that also can continue to generate revenue for the county and Rocky Top. And then also they apologize that there was some miscommunication. They thought it was just more of a choice. They did not realize commission really did want 20,000, and they wanted you to know that they're fine with 20,000. And so I just wanted to pass that word along at the request of one of the board members.
Thank you. Commissioner is. Was that a, well, yeah, we passed that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just letting Barry know that I made a motion as well.
Proved it twice.
Okay, under D, there were 3 contracts added for approval: U.S. Cellular and EMS Tuition and Tennessee Orthopedic Clinic from the Board of Education, now that have been approved by the law director as well.
Got a motion and to approve, seconded by Commissioner Barron. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. You voting yes? You want to vote yes?
I'll vote yes.
Oh, it took it. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, that's all I have for purchasing. Moving on to the budget agenda, the cash and fund balance report. These are all unaudited numbers. That will be that way for about 3 months until our audit is final. But at the end of July 31st, 2023, general fund unassigned fund balance 11.6 million, total fund balance 18.4 million, cash 17,794,773. Cash was up 2.4 million from this time last year. Any questions on the fund balance report? Okay. Really quickly, in the sales tax report for the 5th month in a row, we are up 5% this month, 4,224,545. For June 30, for the month of June, we're always 2 months behind with the state collections. Anderson County's portion was a little down, but not much, 510,889. So sales tax is doing a little better this year, the past 6 months anyway. And for the ARPA projects report, we changed the format of this report a little bit and put completed projects at the top. You'll notice the first 10 or so projects have been completed, and then it goes into the projects that are ongoing. But revenue loss, we still have $2,383,099. Other eligibilities, $1,767,769. Total of $4,150,868 still available for ARP funds. Any questions? Okay. Moving into the budget amendment, Group 2 appropriations from the school department. There are 3 of those seeking approval as a group. I can answer any questions. Dr. Parrott is here as well.
And a motion by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner Beauchamp. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Under Group 4 appropriations non-school, there are 21 of those, 7 through 18, 20 through 22, 24 through 27, and 29 and 30. You can take as a group, individually. You can pull any out that you
Got
would
a
like.
motion to approve as a group by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner Vandergriff. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And under Group 5 appropriations that affect the general fund unassigned fund balance, there are 3 of those, 19, 23, and 28.
Got a motion by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner Beauchamp. Commissioner Mays.
Robbie, man, I tell you what, this iPad has thrown it to my nose. So, I know that we, as a commission, passed months ago for the sheriff's department, like on insurance recovery funds or sale of
Yes,
equipment.
that's,
Is it against an audit rule or anything like that to put it in a reserve account?
I didn't, I let it roll into fund balance, but I have a running total of that as well. I can ask audit about that, they're here right now, but I didn't do that specifically this year, no.
And I also would ask too, just on some of those grants that roll over to the next, that are, whatever they don't spend, they can roll over to the next year. I just wonder if that's something that it could roll over into some kind of restricted reserve or something like that, instead of just in the fund balance.
Well, any grant, like, if you'll note, for example, the ones we just approved, number 24, the 18,560, that state mental health transport rolled into a committed fund, and then I pulled it out of committed and put it back in their budget this year, because that grant was allowed to roll over this year instead of us sending the money back.
You said you put it in the committed fund?
I did.
Okay.
That's what, budget appropriation number 24 looks like.
Okay.
It rolled into a committed fund at the end, on June 30th, and then July 1st, and this month we're pulling it out.
All right, thank you so much, Rob.
Yes. We don't let grant money roll into normally we don't get the grants up front. It's,
Right.
you get reimbursed. That
Yeah.
grant, we do get a check up front, so that had to roll into it. Anything like that would roll into a committed fund,
Okay,
not fund balance.
thank you.
Any other discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, under Section A, there were 3 grants for approval, 2 from tourism. The first tourism grant was a $200,000 tourism enhancement grant that is a 50-50 match. It could possibly be 70-30, but this grant is just for application only that we're approving that they can apply for this grant. And the motion was amended that the matching funds come from the tourism fund, so any grant or any match would, according from this motion, would come from tourism. I just need approval for that.
Motion by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Smallridge. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, the second grant is also from tourism. It is a $70,000 grant, a 50-50 matching that obviously the tourism fund would supply. It's for marketing.
A motion by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote.
Mine's dead. There it is. We're good, we're good.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, and the last grant is was a request from the Sheriff's Department to approve the statewide school resource officers grant and funding. It was $1,275,000 that we received from the state of Tennessee to fund 17 SRO officers at $75,000 each.
Motion by Commissioner Wells, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
So that just also to say that will put an SRO officer at every school in the county. I think 2 of the schools, Norris and Norwood, were sharing 1 officer. Now they'll have an officer at every school. So
That's a good move.
yeah. Okay, under section B, the election commission grant for voting machines. The motion by Commissioner Wandell and seconded by Commissioner Beauchamp, and passed to refer to Anderson County Board of Commissioners for recommendation for approval.
Motion
We
to,
received $789,096 for voting machines, no match, all funded by the state.
motion to approve by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner Yeager. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Under section C, Industrial Park Infrastructure, Mayor Terry Frank presented a request on behalf of the city of Clinton for the county to provide 50% of the funding, $411,199.43 for the resurfacing of J.D. Yarnell Industrial Parkway in the Eagle Bend Industrial Park. This money was taken from 2 restricted codes, $310,462.78 from a restricted code that is strictly from the businesses in that industrial park, and the other $100,736.65 from the other industrial park restricted code that we have. Was approved by the budget committee.
Motion and a second. Commissioner Yeager.
So the 50% that we are funding, what if it's above this 411 number?
That was from their bid. This is 50% of the lowest bid.
Okay,
So we took the lowest bid and gave them 50% of that.
okay, so if it turns out to be a higher final number, we're still just on the hook for that number?
That's the way I understand it.
Okay.
Commissioner Mays.
Yeah, just real quick, I had thought the traffic lights up there would be a part of this. Is that not? Has that been pushed down the road a little bit? Okay.
Any other discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, under section D, there was a discussion for EMS location and possibly moving them to the general fund. A motion was made by Commissioner Wandell and seconded by Commissioner Smallridge, and passed to approve exploring moving EMS to the general fund in the in the next fiscal year budget, 24-25.
Motion by Commissioner Yeager, seconded by Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, under section E, the volunteer fire department's request from fire commission. There were 2 components to this. The first one, a motion by Commissioner Wandell and seconded by Commissioner Wells to allocate up to $275,318.46 in ARP funds for the purchase of AEDs. The reason it's up to is EMS could receive a grant for theirs, but if they don't, then we're funding theirs as well. If they do receive a grant, we will return that money back to the ARP funds.
Motion by Commissioner Beauchamp, seconded by Commissioner Varon. To approve, any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, the second part of that was a request from the fire commission for $50,000 from the 11 volunteer fire departments and the city fire departments. Commissioner Wandell made the motion, seconded by Commissioner Beauchamp, to allocate $550,000 in ARP funds to cover specific department needs. Each of these fire departments presented the plan, what they were going to spend their money on, the $50,000, and it was in the budget agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Beauchamp, seconded by Commissioner Isbell. Commissioner Mays.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm assuming this includes the municipality fire departments. I'll be honest with you, I'm just torn with this, just simply because our municipalities, for the most part, have dedicated fire service, dedicated budgets for their fire departments. I'm sure nowhere near as much as they would want, and they're probably underfunded. But we have so many volunteer agencies out there that are just, that need this funding, and I just, you know, I think I'll support this, but I would just like to maybe hear some talk about kind of if there's any entertaining the idea of maybe reallocating some, like shifting some money around, maybe reducing some that we give to the municipality and increase a little bit more that we give to the volunteer agencies. Just wanted to throw that thought out there just because they do a lot of the stuff they're paying for out of their own wallet. So I just see that being a need. You know, I pick on City of Clinton a lot just because of who I sit next to, but I mean, you're talking about an agency who ISO rating of 2, has a very nice budget, it really doesn't want for much, and we're going to give them the same amount of money that we're going to give Claxton and Medford and Morrow. For me, that just doesn't set well for me. So maybe this is a great idea, and I support the idea. I just for consideration, maybe if someone wanted to entertain more money going to the volunteers versus the municipalities.
Any other discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Yes, 1 no. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Under Section F, the Tourism Welcome Center sale and division of funds, a motion was made by Commissioner Wandell and seconded by Commissioner White to split the proceeds between tourism and general fund on a 50-50 basis. But there was a, excuse me. There was a motion to amend by Commissioner Wells and seconded by Commissioner Beauchamp for $311,877 to go to the tourism fund and $362,183 to the general fund. The motion to amend passed, and the motion as amended passed by the Budget Committee.
Motion by Commissioner Varon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Commissioner Yeager.
How did that, I was not able to stay that long. How did that final number get approved down to that exact number?
Well, I took the assets from the tourism building, and there was one we did have as an asset for $42,741 that was included as an asset, but when you read the description of what was completed with that, for those funds, it was more of maintenance to the building, so we subtracted that out as well.
Commissioner Foster.
So I'm going to make a motion to amend that we split it 50-50.
Motion to amend. Do we have a second? Got a motion to amend to split 50-50 by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner White. Commissioner Isbell, did you have a comment real quick?
Well, my concerns is going forward, how much of this money is set aside to build a new location? Of course, you know, I've made it public, and I'd like to see a new tourism right off the exit in Rocky Top, a building, and we talked about possibly putting an EMS training center, maybe tourism together. I mean, this is just talk, but is any of that money secured for that going forward? Because I know, you know, we took some money out of the tourism budget to fund some other things, and in talking to Stephanie, maybe she thought that land money was going to go to pay for, you know, the extra increases in wages that we use. So I'm just concerned, are we saving any money for
Well, if whatever split is decided upon tonight would go into their fund balance.
Okay,
And-
so then that would be up to the tourism board to how they spend it or save it.
Well, it cannot be moved unless commission approves it here.
Okay.
No matter what their committee does.
All right.
Commissioner Wells.
I guess I would just say I made my original amendment to the motion to do the split from, where we at, 311,877 to go to tourism, and the county keep 362,183, based on the majority of what I heard on considered assets were repairing and maintenance to some roof issues, updates to the parking lot. It sounded like they removed an island, but the majority of this, from my standpoint, stood as maintenance, and my motion was based on the original recommendation from our finance director. This was his original recommendation for us, so it's doing it at his guidance as well. So I would encourage all of y'all to help keep this money in the county's pocket and not necessarily throw extra into tourism right now.
Any other discussion on, we've got an amendment to the motion to split 50-50. All right, let's go to the board and vote. This is on the amendment. Split. Yeah, but we'll get them to punch it back in. The yes is to amend the motion. Four yes, 12 no. Okay, amendment fails. So clear the board, and then Commissioner Varon, if you'll make your motion again, and Commissioner Mays, if you'll make your second, we'll start back. All right, now we're back to the original motion. Any discussion on the original motion, which is, do you want to state those figures one more time? Just
Yes.
so everybody knows.
So 311,877 to the tourism fund, 362,183 would go to the general fund.
Okay, any discussion? All right, let's go to the board and vote. 14 yes, 2 no, motion passes.
Okay. Under section G, a letter from the state of Tennessee for the fiscal year 24-24 budget from Anderson County, are just letting our body know that commissioners, that our budget was approved by the state of Tennessee. We're required to do that. So that was all that was. There was no motion, no vote is necessary. And under section H, there was a request for funds to replace the defective recording equipment in the General Sessions Court. $24,229.74, and that motion was approved to come out of the Fund 171, the capital outlay budget. I just need a motion.
Need a motion to, okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Varon, seconded by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. He froze up. Oh. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And the last section, I promise. Under new business, Commissioner Wandell presented a request for $13,475.23 in funding for replacement of the defective repeater in the Claxton area. Commissioner Wells made the motion. Commissioner Beauchamp seconded the motion, in ARP funds for the replacement of the repeater.
Motion by Commissioner Beauchamp, seconded by Commissioner McCamey. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Oh, Commissioner Mays.
Yeah, just really quick, and I know the guys back there will know more than us, but at some point, the county as a whole and municipalities need to come together, because of a lot of the equipment that's out in the county right now is either obsolete or near being obsolete. I mean, it's literally robbing Peter to pay Paul to fix some parts. So I think that's something that we also, as a commission, and working with our friends in other cities, need to really look at the radio systems in Anderson County as a whole, and getting them the equipment they need, that way they can all talk to each other across the county, no matter what agency, and they can hear each other. Because I know where the sheriff's department went digital, there were some issues there, and just I'm for this. I'm definitely supporting this. I just think we've got to have a bigger discussion here soon for public safety when it comes to our radio equipment.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Wandell.
I agree 100% with Commissioner Mays, and that's some of the discussion that's been going on in the fire commission. It's going to the state,
Yeah,
like the sheriff's office.
good.
Okay, let's go to the, Commissioner Isbell.
This, after this vote.
Oh, okay, let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. There was nothing under old business, and that's all I have tonight. Unless there's any questions for me.
Yeah, on the money we're getting for the general government sports betting gaming tax,
Yes, sir.
what's the amount of that?
Hold on one second.
I was afraid to flip back down, afraid I'd lose my spot on this.
Sorry. I don't have that total on there.
That's what I was looking for, I didn't see it.
It's around $89,000, I think, in that reserve.
Okay.
They asked for 75, the conservation
Yeah.
part for, but I think their bid was only for 39, and my amendment did say any of those funds that weren't used would be put back into that.
Yeah, I saw that. I get, what I'm looking for is what the trend is, how much money will be.
It's about 50,000 a year right now, so.
Okay,
We still haven't received the fourth quarter. Like I said, the state's always a couple months behind, and that seems to be one of the slower ones, so it will come in this year's money, this fourth
Okay.
quarter does.
and it's just, it's based, I mean, it's not a set amount, it's just based on how much people gamble.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Mays.
Yeah, and I don't even know if this is the right place to do this, but if, I would like to put on the budget agenda, going back to the rescue and the volunteer fire department, about the allocation of how much we're, the 50,000. Is that something I can do here and ask for that, or, because I just think it's fair to give them more than what we're giving municipalities. So, is that something I would let you know, Mr. Budget Chairman, or tell Annette, or how do you want me to do this? I just want to make sure it gets on there.
I can add it.
And I'll be there next month anyway. Thank you, Robbie.
Mr. Chairman, to give some response to Commissioner Mays, it's because of the agreement that we have where everybody has to respond is why the municipalities are also included, because we took this up a couple of times. With the same mindset that you have, is because they're getting, a city tax and some other money, but it's because of the agreement to respond is why they get it as well.
I definitely understand that. I just don't see it being equitable.
I think that's true on property tax, but I'm not sure on the ARP funds that it has to be.
That's true.
So.
We did talk about that in ARP, one of the meetings that Commissioner Yeager put on. We did talk about that.
Commissioner McCamey. Good, good, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
You too. Next, we'll have the operations report. Chairman Isbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner McCamey made a motion to approve to add Juneteenth holiday to the Anderson County government holiday schedule, giving employees 14 holidays. Seconded by Commissioner Anderson. Motion passed forward to full commission for approval.
A motion by Commissioner Barron, second by Commissioner McCamey. Commissioner Allen.
Yeah, I would like to offer an amendment. The Juneteenth holiday is controversial. It divides along lines that separate people based on skin color. It pulls the scabs off of healing wounds. I would like for this commission to consider Friendship Day instead. The county celebrates national and state holidays. The Anderson County Commission should have or make or establish a holiday unique to Anderson County that celebrates Anderson County. And we are the Anderson County Commissioners. With Juneteenth, we are reaching back 158 years into the past to make hurt a holiday for today and the future. Instead, for today, this moment, and the future, let's make friendship a holiday for Anderson County. Instead of making hurt a holiday for our citizens and our children, let us be wise stewards of our elected positions, our brothers' keepers, and make friendship a holiday for our citizens and our children. In other words, today's friendship over and above yesterday's hurt. Imagine tourism promoting Anderson County Friendship Festival, or maybe our schools having a special day called Friendship Friday. My amendment will change the name to Anderson County Friendship Day and have HR and operations review the holiday schedule and find an accommodating date to celebrate friendship in Anderson County instead of hurt. I yield back.
Yes, I would call point of order, Mr. Chairman. We don't have the authority to change a federal or state holiday as a county commission. So I don't see how you have a motion to amend honoring the Juneteenth holiday.
No, this is the holiday, instead of having a county Juneteenth holiday, Mr. Commissioner, I would say that we would have a friendship, call it a friendship holiday instead. We are not trying to amend the federal holiday, just rename this holiday, instead of Juneteenth, let's go for friendship.
Do we have a second to the amendment by Commissioner Allen? All right, the amendment fails for lack of a second then. Commissioner Isbell?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I voted no when we brought that up, because one of the reasons is because we didn't discuss the cost. And I think Commissioner Val could probably elaborate on that a little bit. And I'll give my time to him to answer that question.
Commissioner Bell?
Thank you, Commissioner Isbell. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a county employee, I'm sure that a lot of them are going to be very happy with this decision, adding another holiday to the calendar. However, and I wish Robbie hadn't took off, because I would be interested to know the increase in the budget that this is going to take. There's a lot of offices in the courthouse that they can just close on this holiday and not have to worry about their employees coming in. There's not that much of an increase. Sheriff's office, EMS, departments that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, this is going to cost an increase. We pay our employees, I think it's double time for holidays that they have to work. So this will require an increase in some of the department's budgets. I would like to know the numbers of that increase before I would be voting yes on this motion. So I don't know if that's something that would need to go to the budget committee, or if it can go back to operations with that information, or
I thought I'd heard $80,000, is that?
If I can answer that, and I think Commissioner Wandell, you were in that HR committee meeting a few months back. From a standpoint of an increase to budget, yes, we'll be paying our employees to have another paid holiday, which is gonna be roughly around $80,000, but listening to the sheriff and a few other of the departments speak, we're looking at roughly $3,000 to $4,000 in additional funding based on the overtime that we'd have to pay. So it was, yes, it's more money, and as I pitched, Commissioner Wandell said every penny counts, but it's only about $3,000 to $4,000 max in addition, so.
So, and I'll accept that answer. I don't remember that meeting, but I trust y'all's memory more than I trust mine. I'm pretty sure I'll probably have to abstain on this for cause, Jay, or do I need to?
Are you exempt county employee?
I will be getting that holiday off and be getting, yeah.
Does that change the vote total to that? Okay. Commissioner Barron?
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't find anything controversial about this at all. It's a federal state holiday, and I think we ought to give our employees this day off. I mean,
Commissioner Wells, do you have anything else?
Yeah, so I was the lone no vote in the HR committee as far as encouraging this for a 14th paid holiday. Same reasons you were as well, Commissioner Val. Looking at the end, and one of my statements was, they can show up and clean their office out. And we close on certain days for the store, and we show up and work. But doing more homework, reaching out to constituents in District 6, which happens to be the largest citizenships of Black Americans in the county, we need to be sensitive to this holiday. we're gonna have employees, if we stay open, as the mayor made a statement, we can still honor the holiday on the courthouse steps, employees can work. The banks are gonna be closed, the state and federal government's closed, the courts are closed. We're in a situation here where we're gonna show insensitivity to a large segment of our population, and Commissioner Allen, you're right on some of your points, and speaking to several of these black Americans in our city, they agreed, this isn't necessarily the actual day that we need to be celebrating, but at the end of the day, this is the day that the federal and now the state of Tennessee has decided to recognize the independence of black Americans. So I'll be supporting this. Again, I was originally against it, but showing my wisdom almost to turn 40, I'm learning to listen as I get older, and I want to listen to my constituents in District 6 and give them this holiday off.
Commissioner Mays.
Yeah, to the point of the budget, unless something's changed since 2022, and this started years ago with Chief Lucas, is that holidays are budgeted in the Sheriff's Department's budget, because there's no secret that, deputies, road deputies and corrections deputies have to work on holidays. So that's accounted for. I can't speak for Nathan's group, but I know at the Sheriff's Department that now adding this day could change something, but I know Commissioner Val, they're always fully staffed at the jail, so they can let some people off early.
Lord, please don't strike this place with lightning.
So, but I just wanted that point of clarification that those are built into the budget for sure.
Commissioner Palmer.
I have a text that says 80,000, I think you brought that up. And so I don't know really what the number is. I asked last month for a comparison of salaries per job description and also comparison of benefit package with area businesses, unable to get that. So it's very difficult for me to make an educated decision and an educated vote when I can't get the information and when we've got a lot of different numbers floating around here tonight. So as a fiscal conservative, 14 holidays is a little bit much for me to swallow. It has nothing to do with the employees. I think our employees work very hard. I support our employees. I want to pay them what they are due. But it's just, I just can't make a decision on this without the information. I've not been able to get the information. So I can't support this at this time.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Allen.
Yes, I too have talked to my constituents, both black and white, and there is a concern that they would like something that would be across the board, more broad. And I think that the idea of having a broad holiday that does not look at someone because of their skin color, but really looks at them as an American. Just like we had the talk about the the civil rights monument that's being built here. Our country should not be based on holidays that have to do with people's skin colors, but it should be based on, people's character and honor. So I will not be supporting this because of that reasoning. I have always been someone that wants to bring together people because of, character and not because of skin color. And to have a holiday that's based on skin color, I think is quite insulting.
Commissioner Barron.
If we don't do this, it'll make it look like we're just offending the black community.
Any other discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Commissioner Isbell.
Yeah, one other thing, and this is just a random thought that I had. If you took that money, if we're wanting to do it for something special for Anderson County and for, the movement, and Commissioner Wandell showed me something here, if we took that money and donated it to the Scarborough thing, and maybe if we did give an extra day, it'd be their birthday, where it didn't cost so much overtime. But if we took that money and dedicated it, that was going to dedicate to that for the Scarborough the presentation that we got. If it was $80,000, that'd be a good start.
Commissioner Wells.
I guess I would just say I'm trying to think of the appropriate term here, but that's throwing money at something, hoping it'll go away for one time. And and I appreciate and agree with you, but we're not wasting $80,000. If that's the rough number, they're getting paid that regardless of whether they work or not. That's not going away. So we gave $80,000 additional. That's just added to our budget. $3,000 to $4,000 is what we're talking about, based on what the department's head said in HR. So again, let's not throw money at something and hope it goes away. And again, I was the first one against this, but the federal government's recognizing it. Our state government's recognizing it. Majority of all southern state governments are recognizing this holiday. Let's not be ignorant, and let's not ignore the fact that this is a holiday that recognizes people that were brought here against their own will, had to suffer here. And Mr. Commissioner Allen, I do agree with you. A holiday shouldn't be based on race, but this is based on a group of people that suffered for 300 years, for generations. We need to show them that much respect. And at the end of the day, we're just following suit what our state government's told us to do. So I'll leave it at that, and I ask all of you to please support this and support it for the black citizens of Anderson County.
Chairman, I call the question. We've talked about this in numerous committees, and good night, we'll be here for 3 hours talking about political opinion on this topic. So I'd like to call the question, please.
You seconded, okay, raise your hand if, to call the question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, yeah, everybody wants to call the question. Okay, let's go to the board and vote.
Yes is 4, no's against,
Yes,
correct?
yes is 4. Yes, 4 no, 1 abstention. Motion passes.
Next was Commissioner Yeager made a motion to approve the following, whereas the resolution 12-321 established the Alternatives Incarceration Committee and resolution 13-06 amended the committee. And whereas the program now has a successful and firm foundation, and whereas Anderson County has now adopted the Stepping Up initiative that required the creation of a resource facilitation committee that can carry on the collaboration intended. We hereby desire to sunset the Alternatives to Incarceration Committee and rescind resolutions number 13-06. We got a blank there because we don't have those other numbers. And the resolution 12-421. Seconded by Commissioner Mays. A motion passed for full commission for approval.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Yeager, seconded by Commissioner McCamey. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Fif- 14 yes, 1 no.
Commissioner Yeager made a motion to approve the mayor's request for a legal opinion to verify the proper appointing authority for the Tourism Council and a specific statutory authority supporting the reporting to ensure proper actions and the mayor's duties. Seconded by Commissioner Allen, passed the full commission for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Mays to approve, seconded by Commissioner Wells. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Fifteen yes, motion passes.
Commissioner Anderson made a motion authorizing the mayor to initiate discussions with TWRA about a flagpole adjacent to Veterans Bridge. Seconded by Commissioner McCamey. Motion passed forward to full commission for approval.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner McCamey. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion 15 yes, motion passes.
Commissioner McCamey made a motion to authorize the mayor to apply for a Blue Cross Healthy Place grant for amenities on Anderson County-owned property at 96 Mariner Point Drive, Clinton, Tennessee. Seconded by Commissioner Mays. Motion passed to forward to full commission for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Yeager, seconded by Commissioner McCamey. Commissioner Wandell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to definitely support this, but I'd like to also, Mayor, if we could, look at doing something out there at Rocky Top. I think that would be another good location to look at for the kids out there on the next one, if we could. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Yes, motion passes.
Under Law Director, Commissioner Yeager made a motion to approve resolution number 23-08-1123 to adopt the 2018 edition of various international building codes as the official building codes of Anderson County. Seconded by Commissioner Barron. Motion passed forward to full commission for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Barron, seconded by Commissioner Yeager. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And under tourism, wasn't an action item, but just in case someone here wants to know, Ms. Wells is here, is discussion on procedures for collecting data for reporting. I don't know if anybody may have had questions about that, but she did a good job at operations and how that works. And that concludes the Operations Committee report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Need a recess? Need a recess. 10-minute recess. Okay. Close.
No.
Go warm up, yeah.
Motion to recess.
Nichols. If anyone has any questions for him.
It's always a pleasure to come before this commission. Hey, just a few things, just to let you know, Briceville right now, we're at 107 students. We've had to actually put in a second kindergarten teacher. As of May 15th of last year till today, we're up 72 students in our district. A lot of fluctuation, but I think that that's a good sign. Another thing, we just received a 3-year grant for mental health. It was about $1.2 million, and we'll be putting in 4 more mental health therapists. That'll put us up with social workers and everything, will put us up to almost 10 mental health experts in our district for our students. We're fully staffed. We have hired 66 new teachers this year. Last year was over 100. If you remember from our budget, we did cut 10 positions last year. 2 of those were out of central office. We are looking toward the end of ESSER 3. As you know, we used a lot of that funds for capital projects, but we do have some positions in there that we're going to figure out how to use for next year, especially in our elementary K through 3. We hired assistants for every classroom, and that really helped us out when you start looking at tutoring and things like that. The 3rd grade retention, we did not have to retain a single student, so that goes to show that we're doing something right. With that though, it does come with a cost, but the state, this year we still have where we can fund tutoring in our schools, but next year that funding will go away too. So those are things we're kind of looking at. Budget building projects, the Norris Middle School project is complete. You all approved the last payment tonight, so we'll be done with that. You get a chance to go by. It's a great project. I want to thank Evans Ailey for doing that, and Michael Brady, the architect. They did an amazing job on that. Claxton, everything's on track to close at the end of the month. We got the Phase 1 survey complete with no major findings other than we knew there's going to be clay and some rock and stuff like that, but you can still do a regular foundation. So they're looking at a couple of more surveys with that. So we do have the traffic study will start soon. They had to wait till school got back in so they could do the traffic study. And then we are working with USDA on the loan. Excavation for the field is complete at Clinton High School. They're supposed to start moving the lights this week. The next big hurdle is putting sewer and water onto the property, and that has to go through the creek or under the creek. And that you have to work with, when you're working with water, creeks like that, you have to do a lot of hoops to jump through. So we're working with TDEC on that. The other thing, the CTE building at Clinton High School, we will be close to going out for bid in the next month. That's the new welding and ag pavilion there that will be 3 classrooms and 2 labs, shops, that with a grant we got. The other big thing is we're looking at some upgrades on our safety. I'll be bringing some more information at the next budget meeting, safety and some sewer upgrades. Life Development Center, as you know, we talked about going to liquidate that. Oak Ridge has really, I think they're really interested in that, and they're going to get an appraisal on that and see if we can come to some terms on that. Just some things to think about, and I'll end with this. Some things that we kind of take for granted in Anderson County schools. We have a full-time nurse in every school. As of tonight, you approved. We have a full-time SRO in every school. We have music and art programs in every school. An air filtration system in every school that cleans the air every 15 minutes in every classroom and brings in new air. Our student-teacher ratio is almost the lowest in the state compared to other school districts. And when you look at, just think about over $13 million worth of scholarships for our seniors that graduated last year. So, you know, education is expensive, but we know that and we take good care of that funding, and we really appreciate what you all do. Every time we've came and asked for something, you've been honored to let us do it. So the last thing I will say is I've had some questions about the new 39-17902 that you had read to you tonight. We are, anytime something like that comes out, we depend on the State Board of Education and Tennessee School Board Association to bring us new policies and procedures. And as of to date, we've not got anything. But just a couple of things that we do have in place, you know, that if there is a concern about material and a parent has a concern about a material, they can request supplemental material. Even if there's a considered something objective, we have certain supplementary readings that we can give to students. Also, that if there is a book that is controversial, that is still, some people want to see it, we have things in place that we can put it on a restricting list, and it won't be used unless a parent approves that. So we've got a lot of things in place that we make sure our students are safe. Any questions?
Commissioner Yeager. Thank you. I have two, Dr. Parrott.
Yes.
The mental health professionals you were speaking of?
Yes.
Will they be employees or are they outsourced?
Yes, they will be employed. It's a 3-year grant, and we put in there for they will be employed. And then what we will do is try to figure out how to keep those in the budget. But our social workers, we have social workers and student, I don't know, they're called S3s for a different lead. We have 5 of them right now, and then we have 3 mental health. So with those 8 and then put 4 in, we will have, some of the schools too have a grant like Grand Oaks Elementary and Lake City and Clinton Middle School and Norwood. We work with Ridgeview, and they have a full-time therapist in there too.
Okay.
And we figured out that it just works better. We tried to outsource it last year on some things, and what happens, the parents, the kids don't get to the appointments and everything, and we want to meet the student where they're at, and it's just best to do it right there in school.
Okay. My second is at the old Fox Hardware in Oak Ridge. I believe it's the Pipe Fitters Union that has bought that building. It's going to become a training center.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that?
I am not familiar with that one. I know that David Wood at Anderson County Career and Technical Center, he works with a lot of the unions. I know one that works with is the Painters Union. We have some students go to that, an electrical union. And so what they do is the county Chamber of Commerce gets with them, and they have a meeting with my mind has went blank. The economical, what is that, Mr. Foster? The board that we have, yeah, that you bring we bring all of the industry together, and that's one place that they would work on that to try to make sure that if they do have a need, we can do that.
Okay, they're still renovating the buildings, and they're not open yet, but whenever I hear
Yes,
exactly what they're doing, I'll let you know.
We'll reach out to him, Mr. Wood. That's his job to bridge that gap between business, industry, and the school.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Isbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Parrott, I saw where we've got open enrollment now for out of district.
Yes, that's a state law that they passed. Must have been somewhere out west that they were kind of doing that, and we just have to say that, hey, we have openings, and so we did that. Usually we wait till at least 2 to 3 weeks after it opens up, and that was part of the new TISA. And they still have to follow our rules. They still have to, it's on attendance, discipline, and grades, so we still have to follow those things.
Okay, so I mean, they come from one county to our county and.
Yeah, we get the funding through that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And you can't put any, you can't put any new positions in or anything like that. So, so what we did is we look and see to where we want to keep our student ratio low. But like at Briceville, we put in another kindergarten teacher, so we could put in 3 or 4 kindergartens up there and it wouldn't hurt anything. So that's what we look at.
Well, it's good when you're increasing your kindergarten, because that means that the community's growing.
Exactly right. We're at, right at 400, we're at 375 kindergartners in our district right now.
That's good.
So it's a good number.
Commissioner Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Perry, thank you so much for all the work that you've done. I read all of the material you and I have been sharing back and forth. It looks very good. I just want to make sure that, you know, your processes and your procedures and your systems will accommodate 9201E.
Yes.
Okay, they do accommodate 902, but I just want to make sure that they do adhere to 9902 subsection E.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
very, very important.
Yes.
So if it
We'll make
satisfies that, then I'm okay with that. And maybe Jay can elaborate if he wants to, but that's my only concern there, that the county is not being exposed because
Yes.
of this new amendment to the law.
Yeah, anytime there's a new law like that,
Yes.
we have a meeting in the summer that, Chris McCarty, he's probably one of the best attorneys that know educational law, and then
Yeah.
we have one that, Dale Cantrell is a attorney, and he is school board attorney. So anytime something like that happens, they bring it all to us, and then we have to go through policies, and we will put in a new policy. But Tennessee School Board Association will do that, and then the Tennessee School Board will write a new rule for it. So I've reached out to them, but right now there's not anything new that we can do to
Yeah.
make sure that they said just follow our board policy 4-402.
Has there been any discussion of 902E with Mr. Dale Cantrell?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Vandergriff.
Dr. Perry, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to tour the new Norris Middle School facility. Several of us were able to go to the ribbon cutting, and I think, as I said, Chairman Anderson and I are alumni of Norris Middle School, so it was
Yep.
great to see the addition. And then I've had an opportunity several times this week to pass through in the morning during the drop-off time, and the traffic has been so much better than,
Yes.
than it was previously. So the great job, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I have to say congratulations on your no,
All
I'm
the
gonna make him blush, but I think he finally wised up, you know. That's what I'll just leave it at that. Have a great day.
Next up, Mayor Frank. Nothing? Any questions for the mayor? Anything? All right. We'll move on to the law director. Oh, sorry. Uh-oh.
Well, it's a constituents question. Mayor, I had a couple ask about the new grant for the animal shelter. Can you summarize or give us a snapshot of where that's at? And
The spay neuter grant?
No, I thought we got a
The
grant
loan,
for a
USDA
new
loan.
shelter.
Well, USDA is a loan and grant, but grant is only can only be for, you know, some hard equipment or something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not completely final. We had to sign a letter of intent that's based on the authorizations you all gave, and then once they allocate the funds, then it is officially approved, and then it has to go back through the finance committee and that process.
All right, thank you.
But yeah, we're like that close.
Okay. Thank you.
It's the closest we've been.
Appreciate your work.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Commission. Appreciate you having me here again tonight. I've got a written report prepared in your agenda packet. Does anybody have any questions on Section A, the contract approvals, Section B, the zoning violations, Section C, the bankruptcies, delinquent taxes, collections case, lawsuit updates. I think I've kept you abreast of those. And the only item I have that's an action item here is subsection G, Anderson County versus Christine Davis. We need authorization to execute and foreclose on a judgment lien. What this means, we'll be selling the property on the courthouse steps. This is a pretty long story. I think several of y'all are familiar with it. It's been on our radar now for, I think, 4 years. It was a home that was the victim of arson. The Sheriff's Department's been looking for this lady that's mentioned here in the case now for 4 years. They haven't found her or her sister, her twin sister. We got stuck with the zoning violation of trying to clean up all the residue from the burnt home, which is an absolute mess. Got stuck with the bill on that. We got contempt charges against Ms. Davis. Those have accrued to the sum of $28,000. So what we're going to do is we finally got to the amount that teeters over the threshold of us executing on that lien, and we'd like to do that and sell it on the courthouse steps. It's now an empty lot, cleaned up thanks to the county, and get our money back on that. Any proceeds would go to Ms. Davis if we can ever find her, but we're only entitled to what we spend on it, and it looks like we got a $28,000 lien and probably about $2,000 more in court costs from the clerk and masters and the auction fee. So we'll be looking at about $30,000 to make us whole. But I need approval from County Commission to move on that one.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Beauchamp. Any discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Only thing I've got, unless you have questions, is just one more announcement. If anybody knows anyone that donated to the initial tourism building up on Welcome Way, there was several of the original donors had their names inscripted in pavers along that sidewalk. The new owner has given us permission till the end of the month for those donors to come get their pavers. I've sent out a text and email to a few county commissioners that were here and are in that area. But if you know anybody, and I hope this is reaching somebody on TV that was an initial donor to the Tourism Council, please come get your brick paver. We've got to the end of the month. You'll need to take it up yourself, but we need to get those taken care of so the new owner can move on with his D&D on the property. Any questions that you may have on any legal issue you face in Anderson County at this point?
Commissioner McCamey?
Yeah, property in Hidden Hills.
Hidden Hills, yes, sir.
Will that be advertised?
Yes, sir. Be advertised by us through the clerk and master. We've already done that.
Okay, do you have any idea when?
Got 30 days after the chancellor signs the order. I think that's the 18th of September, so you're looking at probably November, early December. We've got a list of people that have requested us contact them. When we do have the sale date, it will be published in the newspaper, and we'll try to get as many interested parties there to satisfy our lien as possible. Anything else from any member of County Commission?
Commissioner Beauchamp?
Jay, this is a legal question.
Yes.
Earlier in the meeting, we had the threat of a lawsuit over the library books. One thing I've learned being in the court system, when the threat comes, you shut up. So I just want you to advise this board of 16 commissioners of what was said tonight and what we need to do from here on out.
Well, my normal recommendation is don't talk about any active lawsuit. We'll come together, and if we need to on a certain hurdle or a certain step, we'll meet in executive session and speak about it and decide what you want to do in open session. But it's always a good policy and recommendation not to speak on a potential lawsuit or lawsuit that we have ongoing.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Commissioner Isbell?
Jay, those bricks have to be sawed up.
Do they?
Oh, yeah, they're in solid concrete all the way down, and then.
So it's not as easy as
Yeah,
I'm
you're
giving
not-
out to people.
Yeah, you're not gonna dig them up, but if somebody wants one, contact me, because I got a saw.
Yeah, I was
got
gonna
3
say, I
of
bet
them.
you're gonna volunteer for this, Tim, and you will. Thank you. I'd much rather you be out there doing it professionally than I. So, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Please feel free to call me or email me at any time. Thank you.
Committee reports. Start with Fire Commission Chairman Wendell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Anderson County Fire Commission met on August 1st, had a good meeting. First and foremost, I want to thank all the commissioners for supporting the ARP requests from all the entities. I know they're very appreciative. Several of them are here tonight in the back, and I really appreciate it on behalf of the Fire Commission and myself and Commissioner Beauchamp, who sit on the Fire Commission. There was a motion made by Stephanie Chief Fox to have a request placed on the Planning Commission agenda. What this is about is when there's rezoning going on, new places being built, building plans, the Fire Commission would like, if possible, to have some of that data, so when there's changes going on, they're aware of it. If an emergency breaks out or whatnot, they're not wanting to change anything, they just want to be made aware of it. So we'll make a motion to place that on the Planning Commission. The other item that was handled in the meeting was selection of a new secretary for the Fire Commission. Chief Fox, who's at Marlowe, she has been the secretary for as long as I can remember. I don't want to date her, but she's done a great job. She's staying around. She's just looking for a change, and but we got a new secretary, and that's Matt Burrell back there. He's going to be the glutton for punishment, so we appreciate him stepping up. Let's see here. I don't think there was anything else. There's in your package there, you'll see the report. I really like this report. As you can see, it breaks down all the different fires that have broken out throughout the county, the locations, the dates. I think there's 20 structure fires, 1 fatality, 1 confirmed arson. And then there's our overall call details for the month, and we're cleaning up a lot of this. We'll get sharper, but it looks good, and appreciate that. Am I forgetting anything out there, guys and gals, that you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Okay. That concludes the report. I just want to be quick as I can here, and that's really it. I'll make a motion to accept the report as presented, if that's okay.
Second by Commissioner Isbell. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Next, we'll move down to the Rules Committee report. Chairman Smallridge.
Rules Committee met on August 14th and had one recommendation having to do with proposed Rule 25. If you recall that was sent to County Commission back in July and then referred back to the Rules Committee over a concern about a potential conflict in terms of majority vote versus 2/3 vote. But Law Director met with us and clarified that that was not a problem. During the meeting, Commissioner Mays made a motion to approve proposed Rule 25, and the motion was passed to go to full commission for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Wendell to approve Rule 25, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Any discussion? Commissioner Val.
I'm trying to get to it, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. Just to confirm, is this pretty much what the Rules Committee was suggesting that we do last month?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Without going into details again, I'll be a no vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any other discussion? Let's go to the board and vote. Yes is to approve. (13 yes, 3 no). Motion passes.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Chairman Smallridge. And last, we've got the Legislative Committee report. Chairman Wells.
All right, let's see, we open up the action items. Commissioner Beauchamp made a motion to nominate myself as chairman. Commissioner Palmer seconded it. I made a nomination to nominate Commissioner Palmer as vice chairman. Commissioner Smallridge made a motion to cease, and that was passed. We heard a presentation from Dr. Peters. We all heard him at last month's meeting. No action was taken. It did lead to us in a little further discussion later on. Commissioner Palmer then made a request to add a discussion of increasing the weight limits for big trucks. on all of our federal state roads, and I'll let her elaborate on that. The motion to add this was made by Commissioner Isbell, seconded by Commissioner Mays. And basically, we asked the law director to prepare a resolution opposing this pilot program that's being presented to the federal government and have it on Monday night's agenda so that we can get it out and ahead of it. So I'll ask Commissioner Palmer if you want to just briefly discuss it, and then Mr. Yeager, if you'll read the resolution for us.
So this came from an email that we all received, and in that email, they were asking us to sign a letter with them opposing the weight limit of the trucks. It's like a 10-year pilot program, increasing the weight of the big trucks from 80,000 to 91,000 pounds. And they're wanting to use it as a pilot program. So we had our road superintendent, Gary Long, here at the meeting as well. He is opposed to it. He said that his counterparts in Nashville, he's spoken with them, they're opposed to it as well. It has the potential of affecting over 1,900 bridges in Tennessee, to the tune, I can't remember now, $1.8 billion, increasing, trying to take care of the roads where this extra weight will damage the roads. So all of that was in our email. The studies, there were links to the bill. This is a federal bill, and there was a link to that bill that is going to be presented. I believe Commissioner Isabel also brought out that NACO is opposed to this bill as well. And so we just recommended to have this resolution drafted by our law director and see if commission would join in opposing this pilot program of increasing the weight limit of these trucks.
Got a motion in a second.
There's more information on this on the NACO website and also the National Association of County Engineers website. If you're in favor of this opposition to these two bills, please go to the NACO website. They have a click-on sign-in sheet if you're an elected official to show your opposition to these two bills. Resolution opposing the federal increase to truck size and weight standards allowed on county roads, whereas the United States Congress has recently introduced legislation to increase the national truck size and weight in H.R. 3372 and H.R. 2948, which both passed out of committee in May 2023 and may come to the floor for a vote after the August recess. And whereas the proposed legislation would allow for trucks to weigh up to 91,000 pounds, allow for an increase in the length of trucks also. Whereas the National Association of Counties and the National Association of County Engineers have both stated their opposition to this legislation until Congress requires an impact analysis that any increase may have on the national transportation system, including the added cost on state and local governments. And whereas at this time, many of the roadways and bridges in Anderson County cannot support the increased weight to 91,000 pounds, and it would be very costly to the county to rebuild an infrastructure that could support that weight. Whereas the increase in weight and size of trucks would have a significant negative impact on Anderson County's infrastructure, since some of our roads and bridges are much older and cannot support these increases. The increase would have a negative impact on the citizens in this county. Now therefore be it resolved by the Anderson County Board of Commissioners meeting in regular session this 21st day of August 2023 that we respectfully oppose the proposed federal increase in truck weight and size allowed on county roads, and we kindly request Congress to reconsider its proposal or allow for exceptions in counties like Anderson County with roadways and bridges that cannot support the proposed increase. Any questions? Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, let's go to the board and vote. Motion passes unanimously.
All right. And so last item under our new business the other day at the meeting, after hearing from Dr. Peters, he had basically some language, I think all of you remember, some language he wanted to see addressed by our state legislature, changing basically just some wording under medical terminology. That kind of brought up in the discussion, maybe we look at before the state session starts back in January, we give an opportunity for us as commissioners to look at some issues that are important to ourselves, our constituents, and schedule a time, October, November, or December, at Representative Reagan, Representative Butler, Lieutenant Governor McNally, and if available, Congressman Fleischman, to come before the legislative committee, have a set group of topics that we discuss with them, hear their feedback, and basically just build that relationship up going into 2024 session. So that'll be something, as a committee, we reach out to them, try to schedule a time, and as soon as that's done, we'll give ample notice to all of commission and the public as well to kind of craft what we're going to discuss in that meeting. So that's the last action item, and while I do have the floor, because I'm, again, trying to grow and be smarter as I get older, I do need to wish my wife, Dr. Melissa Wells, a happy birthday today. She was kind enough to lend me out to the county and not give me too hard of a time for it, so love you, honey. Thank you.
Commissioner Wendell.
Kroger's be closed to buy flowers tonight, so.
Mr. Chairman, that first motion, I'd like to have that resolution forwarded to the Tennessee County Commissioners Association. If I could, I'll make that a motion. Oh, I already did.
Well, we got a Commissioner Smallridge, was your motion for the,
I thought you were making a motion.
To adjourn.
Oh, I don't need a
oh, no, he didn't need a motion.
That's real impressive.
I can make a motion that we sing happy birthday.
A motion to invite those folks in. I didn't know.
Oh, the motion
Maybe we
to,
don't need a motion.
That would be, y'all tell me if we need a motion on that.
I think we can reach out to them and schedule that, so good on that. Okay, so this motion and a second to send the resolution
Forward
to-
that resolution to Tennessee
to-
County Commissioners Association so they can get it out to all the counties and let them take action.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. All right, is that everything legislative? Commissioner Vandegrift.
So we did have our first meeting of the opioid task force this past Monday. The mayor was gracious enough to do minutes for us. We just communicated about those this afternoon, so I'll submit those next month. But just to give you just a short description of what happened, we did decide to do a workshop day on September 7th at 5:30 in this room. We will be discussing some of the criteria for the distribution of the funds from the opioid settlement. What are some of the requirements and what are some of the criteria going to be? We have invited Ms. Wilson from ASAP to meet with us, and she's graciously agreed to meet with us. And if anyone else has any other invites they'd like for me to extend, I'd be happy to do that.
What time was it?
5:30.
Okay, any new business? Commissioner Wendell.
Mr. Chairman, as we go into the month of September, I guess for those of us that have changed committees, we'll start the new committees in the month of September, correct?
Right.
And then those chairmans and vice chairmans, because I think one of the new rules is to have a vice chairman for all committees now. So we'll elect those at the first meeting at each of those meetings starting in September. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Val.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to clarify, the boards and committees are approved at the September County Commission meeting by full commission, right?
Yes, but usually on with operations and budget, do they switch in September, don't they, if they both agree to it? Is that how that?
That is correct, but if full commission is voting on those changes and those appointments at the September commission meeting, the committees wouldn't meet again after that until the October meeting. I think what Commissioner Wendell was asking was the requests that have been made to switch committees, would that be in effect before commission approves them at the September commission meeting? I think the answer to that is no. I know on budget committee, we've always waited until after full commission approved those changes. Those members were then on those new committees, and then we made the decision on chair, vice chair, and all that. If I'm wrong, certainly someone tell me, but
That's how we handled in September of '22. We had budget operations and everything before county commission approved the list of committees.
So,
And that just opens up a big can for last September committee meeting.
I thought if it was Jay, I was thinking if it was like a mutual, if everybody's happy on operations or budget, or they agree to switch, then they just switched in September, but.
That's if everybody agrees.
So, so if me and Commissioner Mays agree to switch committees, we can go ahead and switch committees in September, and then we'll just. What's that?
I think it has to be the whole lot.
Oh, everybody has to agree to it.
Because we're, absolutely what we're doing is reconstituting each committee by vote. As it stands right now, until the county commission changes it, you're on budget, Mays is on operations, am I keep it correct? But, in the past, there has been this, okay, I served 1 year on operations, I'll take budget back and forth, that's happened so many times in the past, and it may happen this time. If that's the case, then we can certainly move forward at that point.
Commissioner McCamey.
It's my understanding the committees that are voted on in our September meeting, that any meetings that happen prior to the county commission meetings, like budget meets the second Thursday, operations meet, it would be the same committee that is in effect right now. And then only after we change and vote in September, then the new committees would meet thereafter. And that's what, I think that's what Annette's trying to say. It.
Reconstituting the committees again at the county commission meeting in September.
Right.
And then move forward from there.
But the old budget committee will still operate budget in September and operation in.
Third Monday of September.
Yeah. And that's what Annette was trying to say, that really it doesn't take effect until the October term with the new commission, new committee members.
Will that need to go through nominating, just as everything did in 2022?
Probably not. If everybody agrees to swap, with their counterpart in each district, I don't think that would need to go through nominating. That's just professional courtesy. If we have a problem, no doubt we'll have to take the nominations, but, I don't think it will be.
I don't think, is anybody else planning to switch operations or budget? Okay. Any, Commissioner Vandergriff?
So sorry. So, just to clarify, so we will elect a chairman and a vice chair for the committees in September?
No, usually at the first meeting that occurs after the reconstitution.
Okay, so in October,
So
okay.
it needs to be
okay.
October for the,
County commission chair, vice chair, parliamentarian will be named, the chair, at the September meeting.
Commissioner Mays.
Yeah, just to wrap this up, is, I guess, from a rules perspective, what is the legality, Jay? Do we need to do something in our rules so in 2026, when we have newly elected officials, if there's new commissioners, when do they effectively start serving on a committee without county commission approving them? Because this past time, a year ago, we all picked our committees prior to, but it didn't go through nomination. It went through nominating committee, then it got approved by full commission. But we went through with budget, operations, purchasing, everything prior to being confirmed by commission. So.
Must be approved by county commission.
Precisely. My point is the September of 2022 meetings, committee meetings that we had held, there was no approval at that point because we didn't have a full commission meeting until mid-September. On September 1st, all it was appointing a new chairman, vice chairman, and nominate, and that was it. But we still went on with committees until that full commission met.
Yeah, you don't officially start serving until confirmed or ratified by county commission on that third Monday of September.
I would just think we need to put something in the rules or something.
We can certainly do that. That's a good point. Thank you.
I think in that instance too, we had half of the commission was brand new, and we kinda just had to put people, fill the gap. We were starting from scratch, so we had, yeah. Commissioner Bochamp.
We had the special call meeting after we were sworn in, and that's when we approved everybody. So it was September 1st when we came in here and we did everything. So nobody had actually met on any committee yet because we did it right here that first day.
No, we did nominating, and then we went through nominating committee and sat there and appointed everybody. Cause I remember the joke about Denise and Phil
Yeah,
being
we
put
did go
on.
through nominating. But
So,
we were already sworn in on September 1st. We had already said everything.
well, we were sworn in as commissioner, but the point is, I just don't think that our committees are valid until county commission approved them.
Mayor Frank.
My recollection on that is, I do believe Jay and Annette spoke about that, and I think Jay recommended back then that the first order of business, basically, the person was filling the position of who they had won that, you know, if they won that seat or that vacancy, they followed their path. And then I think my recollection was based on the legal advice was make sure the first order of business is to confirm those members' seats on those committees. And then if not, then it could potentially be an issue for whatever votes took place at the committee level. But once they were all confirmed, then there was no issue with the vote. I mean, that was, does that ring a bell, Jay? I think that's.
You're absolutely correct. That, remember, was the first term, first year
Yes.
of the term, four-year term.
Yes.
So we can pull that off. There.
So that we could get it going.
On September
Yeah.
1 this time.
Yeah.
For everybody to take oath of office.
Right.
Like you did last year. So now it falls upon that county commission meeting, third Monday of September, where all the decisions are ratified and the committees are officially reconstituted, the membership number.
Yes. Yeah, I was referencing Commissioner Mays, like, talking about that election year. That's what was done. If you look back at the minutes, I'm 99% sure, like, one of your first things was to confirm your nominating committee
We
appointments.
retroactively approved.
Yes.
Because we didn't really have a choice because of the election, so.
Right.
I'm good, I
Any,
memorialize somewhere.
any new business? Any old business? If not, we will see you
Motion
in
adjourned.
September.